the live stream and live stream doing the stuffs and the things and the stuffs and the things in the live stream. Because it's a live stream, and that's what we do in a live stream, and my hair doesn't look great in this live stream, but that's okay. It doesn't actually matter. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. It's just kind of whatever. Can I watch? I can't. Most intriguing. So I can
Watch your own stream?
watch my own stream.
Cool.
This means I can also do this from my own dupe. And I don't have to do broken spectacles. Maybe. There we go.
Hey.
I can pin it and everything. Dude. Upgrade. Let's go.
Look at you go.
It's the little things. It's the little improvements that you can make upon your content. Just baby step it here and there. Just trying to be better all the time.
Did you do your thing?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Cool. I'm not usually here right when you go live anymore.
You're not usually. I was gonna comment when I went live. You're just like, oh, it's just front row seat. You're already here.
I'm already here. I'm not like on my way home or anything. I'm home.
It's very interesting. When I'm happy, obviously. You know,
I hope you're happy.
it's alright. You know, it's alright that you're here. It's acceptable, I guess. It's not like chat misses you when you're not here and screams about you not being here or anything.
Do they?
Sometimes.
Guess what? I'm here. No need to fret this time.
I feel like the audience likes you. You know?
I hope so.
I feel like they enjoy when you're around.
When I'm around and chipping in.
And if nothing else, I enjoy it. And you know, this is my live stream, so that's really all that matters.
True.
Nothing really matters beyond that.
I always forget. I'm in your
Yeah, usually in the
backup recording.
Backup recording that I don't use. Don't ask me why. And I don't even have I don't have access to my old recording software, so I'd have to get new recording software that I don't want to fucking mess with. And so I can't even edit those videos. Right? There's no point in me doing these extra bits, this extra aside. I'm just filling up my hard drive. Might just stop doing that then.
You might.
Yeah. Because honestly, I am just kind of filling up the hard drive. I haven't used any of the past ones. And if I do it in case I need to go back and edit something on the live stream, but I can just, I wouldn't want to, but I can possibly just screen record or something the live stream and do it from there.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome, all. Got a few people. Welcome. This is the live stream. Doing the stuff and the things in the live stream. Talking about the atheisms and the theisms and the God and the whatnot and the not God and the is there a God? Why should we believe there's a God?
In the live stream.
In the live stream. In the live stream. I need to remember. I want to take away Where's the freaking thing? I want to temporarily take away your God powers in the Discord so that I can see what someone sees. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna take away my powers.
Just briefly, so I can
Wow.
navigate the Discord as like a commoner and make sure they see everything. Because we had all this stuff about some people not being able to see certain things, and I think I fixed it, but I don't know. It's like,
Could you create an account for Broken Spectacles?
No.
Okay.
yes, but no, I'm not going to do that.
I just don't get God powers anymore.
Temporarily. I'll take it away. I'll take your phone. I'll peruse the thing, and I'll give it back, and I'll give it back. It's fine.
Unacceptable.
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 I got a puppet mentioned me in a video.
A puppet?
Yeah.
A puppet.
There's this puppet on TikTok that I guess mentioned me in a video, probably making a video reaction. I haven't gotten around.
I want to see the video.
I'm not going to play it right now because copyright stuff, but I haven't gotten around to looking at it. I'm sure it's...
Send me the video and I will listen to it with headphones. I want to see this video.
I don't even know if I want to watch it. I want to be criticized by a puppet. He's going to tell me how wrong I am, and he might be right. Which is all the more reason to listen, so you can be corrected. All the more reason to listen so you can be corrected and whatnot. But I don't know. Sometimes when other YouTubers or TikTok people like stitch a video with me or make a video responding to me, which doesn't happen very often at all. But sometimes it takes me a couple days to get around to it. Because it's like, I'm gonna open my phone and my video is just gonna get pooed on. And it's like, you gotta be in the mental headspace for it. And I'm usually not. No, don't do that. I'm losing my gobstoppers. Did you just close TikTok? Yeah, you did. Well, it's like...
Who is this puppet?
Dinks, I think is his name. I think it's literally like Dinks the puppet. I will say, I'm not all too impressed. I perused through some of his content because I think what got me on his radar is that somebody tagged him in the comments on one of my videos of like, hey, this is a person that you can respond to, which is fine. So I'm like, oh, who's this guy? So I looked. The very first video I saw actually like genuinely made me laugh because it was responding to a comment. Because it's just like a puppet. It's the dude doing a puppet thing.
I found the puppet.
Yeah, and it's a comment of he's responding to a comment of somebody saying, "Oh, you can pray for me. It's fine. It doesn't matter." And he's just like, "Oh, look, guys, an open invitation. Go get him." It's like, that's pretty funny. It's pretty good. So, he's that was my first impression of him, and it made me genuinely laugh. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good. I don't find myself impressed with very many Christian activist apologist channels. I just kind of don't. Was I on Neil, the 604 Atheist, at some point? No, I was not. I don't know who that is. Is he being nice? Well, you're laughing, so if he's at least being funny about it, I think I can take that.
He's
Are
You're saying something,
making fun
and
of
then
me
he...
with the puppet?
You're saying something, and then, like... It was when you were kind of... How do I explain this? Okay. Words. Is the video you made where you were saying how some Christians can be just, like, overly complicated. Like, if you go to this verse, and then this verse, and then that, you know, whatever, like, go back to the Declaration of Independence, whatever. And he stops. He's like, in other words, you're confused. Got it.
You know what? Why does the argument have to be confusing? Why does it have to? That was part of the point of the post. No, he's alright. He's definitely got some of that personality, some of that comedic personality. I enjoy it. Is that a squishmallow behind you? It is. It's a turtle, dolphin, thing. Turtle, sea turtle, probably. It's probably what it is with the fins. I might need to add something else. It's because sitting here for extended periods of time makes my back start to say no. So that's a little bit better. So I gotta put like pillows behind me so that I can sit up. Because otherwise I'm sitting up and like slouching and it like messes with my spine. This way I can like sit back while still being like kind of up towards the camera. I might have to watch this video later. I mean, I will either way, but... You have the same but a mini one? Nice. It's a cute one. It's a pretty cute one.
What?
The...
Sorry. Just talking about
the
the
turtle. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't... I'm sorry. I wasn't talking to you. I wasn't not talking to you, but I wasn't... The...
Oh, my turtle?
Yeah. Sea turtle.
That you've essentially just stolen as a backrest.
I was going to use something else. I was gonna steal this one, and then you offered me the turtle, so I'm sitting on the turtle.
Using the turtle. Why would you squish the bear's face?
Because I didn't know where the turtle was. Yeah, like having a back brace. Somebody commented on my post about conversion therapy. I like your shirts. Where do you buy your clothes? Here and there. I think these two are from Walmart. Probably. I made a post condemning conversion therapy because that's... Apparently we're thinking about bringing that back or, you know, enforcing it or whatever because why not at this point? Everything else sucks. Might as well. Somebody posted, aside from conversion therapy, Jesus can save you like he did me. He can save anyone, and he can deliver people from homosexuality. Come as you are to Christ, and he can change you and he can give you peace. And I said, nah. I said, why not? Out of curiosity. I understand you don't want Jesus, but why not take his free gift of eternal life and peace? Which I feel like those are kind of the same thing. Like, I understand that you don't want Jesus, but why don't you want Jesus? It's like, do you understand that I don't want you? And I said, 1, I don't believe in any God or afterlife. 2, the God of the Bible is a monster. I wouldn't follow him even if he was real. And 3, it's not a free gift if I have to dedicate my everything to Jesus to get it. It's the opposite of free. And I said, if you'd like to know more about my stance on Christianity, feel free to peruse my channel. Because usually I don't have this much back and forth in the comment section, but I thought I'd just go ahead and give it back and forth. And and they basically, why are you calling him a monster? Why are you calling him a monster? You know, you read the Bible better. You can check out my channel for other things. And then he brought up how you can't have morals without God, which is it's one of the most annoying arguments that I can get into. And then somebody else chimed in, you don't dedicate anything to Jesus, you just trust that he will save you. That's not how it works. in many Christian circles. I understand that there are thousands of different denominations of Christianity. And I understand within those denominations there are however many people who each also have their own different versions of Christianity. I understand that it just kind of seems like everyone's making it up as they go along. So I understand that there are some Christians who have this weird idea of just believe in Jesus and that's it. That's all you have to do to get salvation. From what I've read in the Bible, that's not how that works. And from what I've understood from many Christians and preachers and pastors, all that stuff, which I know are Christians, but, specifically, that's not how it works. Which, I mean, heck, if that's the case, then, maybe, I mean, I can't control what I believe, but maybe if I can get good evidence that Jesus at least exists, even if I don't want to follow him, maybe I can at least get good evidence that he exists and believe in him, and then I'm just good. I don't have to follow Christianity. I don't have to do anything, because apparently I can just get in just by acknowledging the dude's existence. It doesn't even matter. Just throw the book away. It doesn't even matter. Rules, 10 Commandments, Beatitudes, throw it all away. You believe in God. That's apparently all that matters. Somebody also asked, what does Christianity do that you are now free from it? And this is a great point. Free to be myself, for one thing. To be free, to live my life, to make the most out of my life. To not have to follow any odd rules that don't really make you a better person. Not have to go to a certain building once a week. Not have to worry about praying throughout the day. Not having to worry about constantly pleasing this God that I believe in. Not having to have, my anxiety go on overdrive, worrying about what this God will think about me. Not worried about him, not worried about demons, not worried about these rules. I'm just living my life and trying to do the best I can to make the world a better place and to be nice to people. And I can just do that freely. And I can also just do fun things, I don't have to follow the laws of this religion. Just taking control of my life and making the most of it. So that's a handful of things that I am now free from without religion. It's nice. You are correct that God can hide from us, especially when we seem to need him most. There will never be a 100% proof of God. Never 100% proof of anything. And they said that, just like there's 100% proof of anything. They're already there. So there will always have to have faith in something, not necessarily. One uncomplicated question, I think, can easily point to something outside our world. Supernatural. Oh, one uncomplicated question I can easily point to, I think can easily point to something outside of our world or something supernatural, is to ask yourself, who made the tree? Something cannot come from nothing, but atheists believe this. That's some faith. Why do I have a voicemail? Visual voicemail? Voicemail data is downloading. Can I help your face? Literally? Most atheists, most people don't believe that everything came from nothing. I guess a lot of theists believe that everything came from nothing because they believe a God created everything out of nothing. But, that's, you have a God that can do that, I guess. I don't believe that everything came from nothing. And a lot of atheists that I see don't believe that. What even is nothing? How can anything come from nothing? Who made the tree? Just because you don't understand how something got here, just because we don't fully understand the processes that got us here, doesn't mean it has to have been a God. That's just simply not how it works. The atheists believe that something came from nothing. That's some faith. Just no. It's not what we believe. And I don't base things on faith. There are certain things, I forget the specific word that is used. Damn, I forget the term that's used. But going to bother me. Because I don't even know how to explain it without that word. But we at least trust our senses. We can trust, we go through life saying I can probably trust my senses. There's probably not a brain in a vat. There's probably some kind of reality that I can interact with and observe. And we can use our senses and other things to observe that reality. Nothing can be 100% certain. Could just be a brain in the vat, whatever. But it's at least, we have reason to believe, it's like I can observe things. So it seems, it's not necessarily a faith position. You can kind of get close, I can understand, but it's, I forget what that word, that's going to bother me so much. But there are some things that we just go with. And I don't see a reason to not go with them. But one of those things that we will not just go with is magical, supernatural things that have no evidence in reality. Hey, Drew, appreciate you pushing back on distorted images of God. God is love itself. Life is his gift to all. Existence is communion with him already. Well, I appreciate the shout out. I don't believe that God is love according to the Bible, but, you know, I guess that's just one person's opinion. What is... Hi.
Hi, sorry.
What is my opinion, really? What do I know? What do I know? I am just a simple, dumb atheist.
According to the puppet, you've already made your choice, so why would God want to prove himself to you?
I've already made my choice.
You've already made your choice. You've
So,
already said that even if he showed himself to you that he existed, that you would reject him because the God of the Bible is kind of an asshole. It's like you've already made your choice. Why would he want to do that?
I think it's a fair question. Hi, Mixed. Fair question. Maybe God wants nothing to do with me. Maybe he already knows that it wouldn't change my mind or anything. However, it would be advantageous for him in his goal of loving everyone and getting more people to come to him.
Supposedly, the Bible never says it's all love.
If he shows.
He offers love to all. It's not all love.
He offers love to
This
all,
is
but he's not
according to-
unloving according to the Bible.
This is
According to the Bible, according to the puppet.
Yeah. You might have to watch the video.
Well, if God wants a relationship with us, and he wants to gather his people to himself, he could show himself. Because there are some people who aren't like me. There are some people who might follow him if he showed up. And especially if he showed up and explained himself. I've said a number of times in the past, if I am face to face with the Christian God at the end of my life, I'm going to have a lot of questions that are going to need a lot of good answers before I ever think about bowing. Maybe he'll have those good answers. You know, maybe he could come and show up and show that he is real and explain the reasons for some of the things he allows, some of the things he does, both, you know, in common life and supposedly in the Bible, especially in the Bible, and turn some hearts. And he doesn't do that. We have chatted before, and what you're saying is totally fair. Many biblical voices wrestle with God, but Jesus unveils the trust image, pure, self-giving love that reconciles all. I just look at the Bible as a whole, and when I see the Old Testament, I don't think loving God. Even in the New Testament, I don't really see loving God. Jesus says you still need to follow the law, and you shouldn't break it. It just goes. Train of thought just goes sometimes. God even strikes a couple down because they withheld money from the church and then lied about it. Just straight up murders them just like that. So I still don't really buy the whole all lovey good version of.
What about the person he struck down for catching the ark of the covenant.
Yeah,
as it was
that
falling.
was in the Old Testament. We can talk all day about how
Still.
terrible the Old Testament God is, but a lot of Christians like to say, well, that's the Old Testament, even though so is Adam and Eve, the story of Moses, the story of Noah, the Ten Commandments, all this other stuff. And Jesus said that not one jot or tittle of the law should pass away until heaven and earth pass away. But we still like to ignore the Old Testament because it makes it easier to push this lovey-dovey image of God. But even in the New Testament, we have issues with him. I'm just starting to learn about the Bible. Can you explain who wrote the Bible and if they knew Jesus or not? A lot of people wrote the Bible, and I don't think any of them knew Jesus. The God of the Bible is Satan. Jesus was trying to wake us up. We are all divine and have forgotten who we are. The Gnostic Gospels that were removed from the Bible tell us about the higher dimensions. I need to read the Gnostic Gospels. That is on my list. I need to get into that. Just a slow reader. I'm still slowly reading. When did I get this book?
Was it when we went?
To Kansas City.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's like
was in March? No, not March.
It's like a 200.
May.
It's like a 200-page book, and I'm on page 95 after like months. Gentle and lowly. For anyone who's been, it might be backwards for you, but for anyone who's been wanting me to read that, I am. I never have time to read, and then when I do, my head and brain does things that stops me from reading. So it's.
Did you call it?
No, I haven't yet.
Told you to?
I haven't yet. I'm gonna be honest, it's not a thing on my list that I really care about with everything.
I do. Just gonna drop your head.
I didn't call Walmart, and I couldn't text to cancel or anything.
Okay.
It has to be like a call or go online thing. I don't know if you can just hop online and just cancel it since you scheduled it online. Or no, you called.
I had called.
Because they didn't send me a
Set
link
it
or
up with
anything.
your phone number and everything.
Yeah, they didn't send me a link or anything.
An email or anything?
We'll look at it later. My favorite New Testament passage, Romans 9:19-24, which demonstrates that God created some people predestined for hell in order to show his wrath and make known his power. Yep. Enoch, Thomas, Mary Magdalene, Jubilee, Jasher are mind-blowing. They're hidden for a reason. I mean, I think they're hidden just because they just like didn't go with what they were going with in the Bible, because it was just a council of men just chose what they wanted in their special book. Not necessarily a council, but like over time, like a group. Because I know people like I said, it wasn't created during the council of I meant the group, not the actual like event. But a bunch of men decided what they wanted in the book. Jesus reveals the truth, and God is never violent or cruel, only self-giving love. That's not what the Bible says. The Sumerian Emerald Tablet is something you should look into. Sumerian Emerald Tablet. Might just look into that. That's my face. God is never violent or cruel. God flooded the entire planet. Men, women, children, babies, just...
That's pretty violent.
It's pretty violent. Didn't Jesus say he wasn't coming for peace, but with the sword to divide families? Yep. Literally justifying like people who disown children or whatever, if they leave the faith or if they come out or anything like that. People can use verses like that to justify it, because what Jesus is kind of implying there, at least one of the things, one of the ways you can interpret that is follow me. Follow me. And if people that you love in your life aren't going to follow me, sucks to be them. but like it's me. It's me before your spouse, before your mom, before your kids, before whatever. Me, follow me. And you even saw it on display recently with some of the rapture predictions. There were some people who didn't think they were going to see their kids afterwards. Like, it just didn't even matter. Apparently, there was one lady who gave her kids to CPS as if they were just property that they needed to get rid of, along with everyone selling their possessions and quitting their job. It's nothing matters but Jesus in many Christian minds, and verses like that don't help with that. Anything difficult is an She's eating the tape. She's actually eating the tape.
Hey.
She got a piece on the floor. Anything difficult is an allegory or a metaphor. What a cowardly apologetic. What is a metaphor when Moses told the Israelites to murder all the little Midianite boys but kidnap the virgin girls? Yeah. And it's just a fun little cherry picking. Because what it is, I have this idea of what the Bible says and what God is and all this stuff and what Christianity is in my head. So anything that I'll use whatever verses align with my beliefs as justification for those beliefs, and anything that goes against those beliefs doesn't actually say what it says. It's some kind of metaphor or allegory or whatever. And it's just cherry picking and tweaking. Because the Bible really is just a choose your own adventure book. It's a sock puppet. You can make it say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. That's why it seems like every single Christian, or damn near every single Christian, has a different idea of what God is and what he wants from us.
Did you say sock puppy?
Sock puppet.
You said sock puppy.
Puppet. Speaking fast, blurring my words together because I don't know how to speak good. The revelation is that God is love. All have already been reconciled to him. Okay, so murdering children is love. Noted. God of the Bible let people sacrifice children to him as a test. The book of Job. What kind of all-loving God does that? As a test. Thoth said the same thing. If there are no other gods, then who is God jealous of? Translation into the Hebrew is important. Let us make man in our image. Who is us? Well, the book of Enoch tells you who they are. Yeah, you can see overall, if you read through the Bible, how the story kind of changes from even God being more of a physical presence with a physical body that can walk around on the earth, walk through the garden, wrestle with Jacob, all that stuff. Going from that to this formless, voice from the heavens or whatever, formless entity in the heavens. You can see the shift from that. You can see the shift from there are more than one God. There is more than one God that actually does things, to there are no gods. It's just this one God. So you can kind of see how the narrative has shifted, and you can see where little edits and tweaks have been made throughout to kind of reinterpret it and redirect the story. It's very interesting. Is there a chance that God exists? Is there a chance that God exists and the people who wrote the Bible did it for clout? Well, there's always a chance that the people who wrote the Bible did it for clout. That's always a possibility. In a playful mood.
Yeah.
I rolled up some of that tissue paper from your McDonald's meal and threw that, and her and Peanut took turns batting that around for a minute. Kitten. I don't think the best explanation I can think of for the Bible, I don't think it was necessarily just, a whole... I don't know if it was really intended to be a con. I can see parts of it being used or made up or justified, like, to control people and to belittle people and keep certain people in power and keep certain people out of power. I can kind of see that. But I think overall, I mean, I think that's part of it, but also just people believing stuff, just the belief that there is something else out there, and the belief that you're a special chosen person, and that this God's going to come save you and that everything's going to be okay. I think there could be a lot of reasons that the Bible was written the way it was. And it's also important to note that it was written by multiple different people, and there's stories about multiple different people in the Bible, so it could be a mix. Some of them could have been doing it more for, I know we're using modern terminology, but clout. Some of them could have been using it for control. Some people could have, heard the stories just like Christians today and firmly believed it, and poured their heart into it, and thought that they had experiences of their own. It could be a number of things. It could be another things. It could be a form of pride in one's nation, talking up the Israelite nation in the Bible. This "we're special and you're not" type narrative. I think it could have been a mix of a lot of different things, of like why the Bible was ever written down, where these stories came from. If you're interested, look up Billy Carson and Morgue Official. There's a lot of knowledge in those two men. Well, you know what? I might just have to look them up. Take screenshot, or take, this is a screenshot, but take pictures so I remember. I probably still won't, but like, this is my best chance of remembering.
Can't wait till we can get you a proper office space.
I can't wait until I can get a proper office space. I think being in that downstairs setup with like our daughter having like a TV room or whatever, and me being off to the side, I think that'll help with my reading too. Give me a nice place to read. Cannot wait. It's gonna be so great. There have been times where I've been tempted just to go downstairs and just set something up.
Yeah. If we have enough to at least do the carpets, flooring, and
Appreciate the chat, Drew. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Thank you for stopping by.
get a wall divider or something. Granted, throwing up an actual wall would be a little more soundproof, but
I love how when I say stuff like, I made a video recently responding to a good amount, a lot of Christian parents who I've been seeing lately warning other Christians not to send their kids to college because they're going to be educated and indoctrinated by the left, and the scary atheist professor is going to make them lose their faith and all this stuff. And I made a video about that, and I get comments like, I haven't seen this. I don't see this. This doesn't make sense to me, and I'm a Christian. It's like, yes, it's never all. I remember I took a sociology class in college, and one of the biggest themes throughout the semester was, if we're talking about the actions of a population, if there is a statement that begins in all or every or none, the sentence is wrong. Never in a population is it every single person in a population. Never in a population is it nobody in a population when we're talking about human sociology. So I understand, because I get comments like this, of like, I'm a Christian and I don't believe this. Well, I'm a Christian, I haven't seen this. Yeah, I know, but other Christians exist, a lot of them, and you all seem to have different ideas on what Christianity is. So, yes, these things do happen. People do say these things.
she is on something else.
She is on something else. and a lot of atheist content creators get accused of just like making up false scarecrows of Christians. Like, if you don't do the thing that I'm criticizing, good for you. It's a good thing if you're not doing any things that I'm criticizing. But the problem is a lot of Christians do enough to warrant criticism. Like, you got to zoom out and you got to look at what other Christians are doing and what other denominations are doing and what they're teaching and all of this stuff. Just because your, tiny little bubble, your family, your pastor is teaching you a different way doesn't mean that there isn't a huge issue with this other thing among Christians. Hello. I personally think Christianity was a perfect storm. A codified death cult that at least purported to be based on condition-free eternal salvation that popped up right as the world was globalizing. Oh yeah. And Christianity, and even beyond that, certain rulers making Christianity the official religion of their whatever they were ruling. The Spanish.
What did you do with my step stool?
Your step stool?
Yes, my step stool. I'm short. I need a step stool in the kitchen to reach the top cabinets.
What step stool?
My step stool that was in between the wall and the fridge.
Is it not there?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Garage? I was using it. To swing set. Where the fuck is the step stool, Drew? I was using it. I built a swing set for my daughter by myself today. Thank you very much. It took me hours. I was dying. What was I even talking about? The Inquisition, going out and questioning and torturing and murdering people who weren't following Christianity. Just the manipulative aspect, the evil laugh, my brain's not braining tonight. The promises of eternal salvation, of a life after death, this God that loves you, all this other stuff. There's a lot. It had a lot of good going for it, and still does. I sometimes get people asking, like, oh, Christianity, why do you think Christianity spreads so well? Because it's true. No. Bloodshed and manipulation, including indoctrination from childhood. That's what spread it. That's why it spread, or at least it's a good chunk of it. I understand there's probably a lot of people out there who were brought into the fold because of the feels. A lot of it from manipulation, manipulating your emotions and whatnot, using certain music in churches and whatnot to trigger certain responses in your brain and whatnot. But, it feels, it does not in any way, shape, or form prove it to be true. I took it, I have the step stool, and you'll never see it again. Mixed has your step stool.
I'm short. I need a step stool.
PayPal, possibly. I have a PayPal. I don't link it in any of my stuffs, but I do have for personal use. Best way to support me is just like, subscribe, share, support the algorithm, make the algorithm like me. I was worried today because like 2.5 hours before I went live, YouTube went down again and had like it's crashing in because the last live stream was the last live stream.
Yeah.
The last live stream. It was already like time to end the live stream, but it ended because YouTube like went down and like people could still chat, but like the stream wasn't there, and I guess it was like a whole YouTube wide thing. And then today it was doing the same thing, and I looked at this thing called Down Detector, which is just a good site to go to if you want to know if a site is just down or whatever, or if it's just your end. And it said it had a spike, that it went down again. So I'm just like, I need YouTube to get it together. I can't keep having these outages, I don't know if we like that comment. Mixed martial arts. I don't know if we like that comment. I feel like I just don't feel like it's a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and match with a 70-year-old man on Tinder. Would it be considered elderly abuse for me to date this individual? No. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're planning on doing to him. Jesus struck your stream down. Praise be. And everybody else's probably. Your friend said it, not you. Oh, okay.
Mostly Reese's.
Yeah, I haven't really been eating the Reese's. You can mix some of those in.
I just wanted to see how much chocolate we have. We have enough chocolate and non-chocolate to have a chocolate bowl and a non-chocolate bowl.
I mean, it looks like you have a lot of non-chocolate stuff over there. We're discussing Halloween candy. Is that? I saw that. It's Chewy Jolly Rancher chews, gummies. I have to try that. I've heard good things about Jolly Ranchers, but I don't like hard candy. Oh, I just have to try it. I mean, go for it. What was your degree of involvement with the church prior to deconstructing? Was there a transitional phase where you were half in, half out, basically pretending to still believe? There was never a spot where I was pretending. I was very open and vocal about where I was. I went a lot on like Facebook, just voicing my opinion about stuff. And if you had access to my Facebook account, which is private, just to protect my friends and family, because I'm doing stuff like this on the interwebs. I don't need anyone going on my personal Facebook. But there are posts you can see through the years my deconstruction. You can see where my stance was, from like devout Catholic to non-denominational Christian condemning Catholicism, to a theist condemning Christianity and other religions, to an atheist condemning religions and God beliefs in general. So there's definitely a transition. I didn't have too much. I'm not a social person. I'm going to be completely honest. I never really had too much involvement. I preached a lot on my personal Facebook to my friends and family. I had some conversations with friends and other people at school, just trying to help them with their faith and whatnot. That's about like the extent. I was an altar server for a minute, a few years maybe. If anyone knows what that is, it's Catholic Mass. It's the altar boys who help conduct the Mass. I was one of those for a few years. I did much else. I wasn't really interested in much else. Well, in school masses in elementary and middle school, they would have like this mass is being done by the 5th grade class, and some of the kids would like do readings and stuff. I got up and did that a couple times. That's about it. That was about my involvement. And I really, after high school, I really stopped going to Mass at all. My high school had a few options of going to Mass throughout the week, and I would go. Yeah. Stopped going to Sunday Mass sometime before I left high school. And then, after high school. Sometimes I would go and sit in the church just driving around after school. When I was in college, I would go sit in the church and pray or meditate for a while. That's about it. It would. It was nice. It was a peaceful place. It was crazy because we were at a wedding at my old church, and I'm just like looking at these prayer cards and whatnot. And I'm just like, I've read these. Like I would just sit and read these. I would read these like before mass. We'd get there early and it hasn't started yet. And I would just take out that or like one of the books and like just start reading scripture or prayers or whatever. Or I would just sit there and silently pray. Or like when I would go and just meditate and pray. So it was weird seeing those still there. They have renovated the church. Still isn't the prettiest church in the world, but it definitely looks better. Was the whole burning bush argument as proof of the Bible being inspired by God? What was the whole burning bush argument as proof of the Bible being inspired by God? I don't know. While I have hope for life after death, which you might not share, and that ultimately, while I have hope for life after death, which you may not share, and that ultimately all will turn to God. In hope? I hope we can both agree that in every choice, the kindest, most loving option is the best way to live. Usually. Mostly a good rule of thumb. I typically try to promote the overall well-being of individuals. So health, happiness, safety, things of the like. And I mean, I hope that there's something else out there. I've said that many times. I would like there to be something else out there. I would like there to be some kind of afterlife or something. Just really doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Damn shame. Don't always get what we want. Life sucks sometimes. This kind of is what it is. What?
So these are
What is that?
the
Mini gummies?
Mm-hmm.
And they're what?
Jolly Ranchers.
Well, what did you say?
They're good.
Oh, you said they were good.
Mm-hmm. I do think the bigger ones are better, though. They're a little more,
I mean, hey, sometimes
Little
that's
more
how it
chewy.
goes.
a little more chewy.
And those look like
don't-
fruit snacks.
Kind of are, honestly.
I might have to try some of those gummy options.
I don't eat these ones because I don't like grapes. I love grapes, but I don't like grapefruit things.
I sometimes wonder if I'd have kept really trying to grind on TikTok and doing live streams on TikTok, I definitely have more followers over there. I would still be making a little bit of money over there because I was making like $10 every few months or so, which I know isn't a lot, but it's more than I've ever made through content creation. And would have probably gotten a little bit, trickle over to other platforms. Most of your TikTok followers aren't going to follow you to other platforms, but some of them will. Because there's a lot of content creators that I watch that have really grown their stuff on TikTok. I still post there, but I really gave up on the live streams and whatnot because you have to moderate yourself too much on those.
It's a lot more sensitive.
And censor yourself. It's a lot more sensitive.
How many times did you get temporarily?
More than enough.
You got your privileges taken away.
I mean, it got to the point where I couldn't even talk to people because you can have guests on TikTok. But it was hard enough for me to try to tiptoe around TikTok's crazy, algorithm of censorship and whatnot. It was even worse for
A guest.
There's a cat tearing up our bedroom.
Well, I see. Is that Snickers?
Smokey's like batting something in there.
I see Snickers. I see things. Guess we'll go investigate.
But when I would have a guest, they had an even harder time, figuring out, they didn't know about the rules of TikTok as much. And so even if they didn't say anything bad, they would have a higher likelihood of saying something that TikTok didn't like. And so when I had guests, I would more frequently get banned or whatever, temporarily revoked, and then I would have to put an appeal, and usually my appeals got approved and I was able to get back to streaming immediately, but I got more of those when I had guests. I was like, I can't even talk to people. But,
Did you feed them? Okay, because she's getting in the closet. That's what she's doing.
she's hungry. So if I would have stuck it out, maybe I could have made it big, but I value talking to people and being able to just talk, Like, the worst thing, because it's me, I don't do anything extreme. So the worst thing that I'm going to run into with YouTube probably is demonetization. I don't make money off of it anyway, yet. And even when I do, it's not the biggest deterrent. And like I said, it's me. I don't think I'm going to run into that risk too terribly much. But with TikTok, it's like, no, you just can't live stream anymore. No, you just can't have these conversations with people anymore. It's absolutely not. I was not for that. So that's when I kind of shifted over to YouTube being my prime platform, because I can at least talk. I can talk freely to people. And I think that's very important when talking about this kind of stuff. The Bible doesn't give a clear answer, but there are certainly passages that seem to point to eternal conscious torment, which is why that's what most Christians believe. How is it love to insist on believing in something unbelievable? I'm not reading. How is it love to insist on believing in some unbelievable nonsense, on punishment of annihilation at best? Yeah. And people will I look good in that video. People will
Which one?
this when it gets my full body walking around. And it's I don't know, just it was a good outfit. Sorry. I don't think I look good very often. So when I do see places where I look good, it's hey, look at me, a little confidence boost, whatever. Don't even know what the fuck we're talking about, but there is some debate. I get a lot of Christians saying, "Oh, hell is not technically a real place. It's not God wouldn't send it to hell. Hell isn't biblical." There is a bad place and a good place depicted in the Bible. There is. Call it what you want, describe it how you want, but there is a good place and a bad place, a good end and a bad end depicted in the Bible. Many people have been taught to read the Bible that way, but if you look at the broader witness of Scripture in the early church, an overwhelming trajectory points towards universal reconciliation. Maybe. Yeah, if you go in on streaming, you have to learn all the rules as if it were a sport and enforce them. Yeah, it was too much. Every knee will bow and every tongue confess. God has given all over to disobedience, so he may have mercy on all.
I do remember having to moderate a lot more on your TikToks.
Yeah. The idea is not annihilation at best. The idea is all turn to God. Go read some of David's Bentley's heart. But but the Bible does say that there is a good place and a bad place, and that there will be people who will be cut off forever from God. It does say that. It also tells stories about people who end up in hell, but then are repentant, or they feel bad, or go warn my family so they don't end up down here with me, or Lord, when did we see you hungry, or whatever, and not feed you? When did we see you? And he goes, because you didn't love people, now F off. And those people did have to F off. So even if you're bowing and confessing, that does not mean salvation. The Bible definitely has, throughout the New Testament, this idea of an eternal good place and an eternal bad place. I do not think universalism is biblical. Hello. Imagine a German dude with a mustache, raised from the dead, realizing the grave mistakes he made in his life, causing so much harm. Juxtaposed with God's love for him, it will be torment, but ultimately he will turn. That's just not what we see in the Bible. The Bible does not say that people will return off for eternity. It does have a good afterlife and a bad afterlife. And it does not talk about people coming back. God can kill the soul and body in hell, therefore not eternal torture. I guess he could. What does it mean to kill a soul? Does that mean you just cease to exist? Anyone whose name was not in the book of life, thrown into the pool of fire. Yeah. Well, I have actually heard that before. That there are some, or at least an idea similar. There are some Christians who believe that the bad ending is just you just cease to exist. God just kind of deletes you. You just cease to exist, and then the good ending is heaven with Him. Yes, and after the lake of fire, we see the New Jerusalem, with the gates wide open, and the kings of the earth, the bad guys, entering into it. Jogs, was it you that I had a conversation with where we talked about this? And I mentioned in the New Jerusalem that it was specified everyone whose name was written in the book of life. And earlier on, it mentioned that not everyone's name was written in the book of life. So it's not everyone, just everyone whose name was written in the book of life. So Jogs, I feel like the issue with our conversation, which was a good conversation, don't get me wrong. The issue with our conversation, the issue that I think you're making, and this could be out of base, but I just want to make sure you don't have this idea of an all-loving God. And that the Bible, you see, does not agree with that idea. And so you're cherry picking. And you're trying to twist and manipulate and make the Bible say something that it just does not say in order to try to justify this belief in an all-loving God. I want to make sure you're not doing that. Because it's something that a lot of Christians do. They'll go and cherry pick things. Because you were also just sitting here saying God's not a monster. He does things with love. God is a monster in the Bible. Especially in the Old Testament. He just is. It is not just love and ruthlessness. And I understand that we like this idea of a lovey-dovey God, but it's just not the reality of the Bible. So, I don't know. I don't know what else I can do for you in terms of conversations like this. Because I don't think you're really looking at the whole text. I think you're doing what I said earlier. People have this, earlier in this live stream, people have this worldview. And if these verses of the Bible, I'll use these verses of the Bible to justify my worldview. And if it goes against my worldview, well, that's not what it actually means. I just want to make sure that you're just not twisting and manipulating the text to fit your narrative. Because I read the Bible in its context. I don't try to turn it or sway it or rewrite it in any specific way. I just listen to what the Bible says. And I think that's how you should read it. coming at the Bible from a fundamentalist position. I'm coming to the Bible as someone who's read the whole Bible and understands the context and understands the verses that I'm seeing you cherry pick and the verses that I'm seeing you ignore. Or like when you said God flooding the earth was an act of love and whatnot. It's not. I think, did I take a picture of that already? If not, I'll take a picture of another one. David Bentley. Although I'll say this. I'm reading Gentle and Lowly right now by, not that I should know who it is off the top of my head, by Gentle and Lowly Portland. I forget what his first name is. He's not a name that I see very often, so I always forget what his name is. But Gentle and Lowly. And it's just preaching. And it's taking like certain small sections of the Bible, ignoring entire other sections, and then stretching the parts that you do take to say this whole thing that it's just not saying. And just making it up and adding pretty stuff to fluff it up and whatnot. Now, I've only read halfway through it, and it did say earlier in this book, don't spoil it for me now, if anyone has read it, but it does say that later in this book we'll go into the Old Testament. So, maybe I shouldn't I'm not giving a full book review right now, but so far, and I read Mere Christianity, what was one other another one, and it's just, I understand the flowery emotional language of like God is love and whatnot, and I understand the appeal, I really do, but Noah's Ark is an event that actually happened. Yeah, we had this conversation too. Here's what you can see from Christians and see. Here's what you can see from Christians and to see who is seeing the big picture. Every Christian I talk to has a different idea of what that picture is, so that doesn't really help me too much. Yeah, Jogs, like I said, it was a good conversation, but I really don't know if you and I are going to get anywhere in a conversation, because it just seems like we just completely disagree with each other. Messenger of Truth. I'll look that up. If anyone ever has any like book recommendations or video recommendations or YouTuber recommendations or whatever else, feel free to let me know. I'll take a picture of it and try to remember to get to it later. There's a hair floating around somewhere. What?
I started singing somewhere.
Oh.
Ignore me.
Yeah, Jogs, I don't know. I think you and I are just going to have to disagree. Is a palm tree icon? Okay. But yeah, I'll always take those recommendations. I had a conversation with a family member about, why I don't believe and all that stuff. And she's like, I think you should read this or this. I was like, I'm fine. Yeah, go for it. Because I do, for like Christmas, I've started putting in my Christmas list to everyone just books. So I'm just like, hey, if you have like a Christian book that you want me to read or whatever, go ahead and get it for me for Christmas and I'll read it, I'm down. I like learning this stuff. I want to learn this stuff. I want to hear all these different arguments and perspectives and whatnot. You could read that all shall be saved. Okay, to be fair, I personally do believe that temporary punishment or annihilation is more consistent with the scripture as written. Those are still awful considering the lies we have to tell to believe. I personally believe that temporary punishment or annihilation is more consistent with the scripture as written. Those are still awful considering the lies we have to tell ourselves. Maybe. But it doesn't, especially when we get to the New Jerusalem, and it says that everyone whose name is written in the book of life gets to hang out there. Where's everybody else? Because not everyone's name is written in the book of life. And even Jesus says, not many are going to be chosen. Not many are going to be saved. So where's everybody else going? Psst, psst, psst. And the only other options that we're presented with are these places of suffering and stuff. So if I'm not getting into Jerusalem, I'm not getting into heaven, not getting into the New Jerusalem, not being saved, where am I going? Because I'm not. Because most people are not. That is biblical. It's these little verses I just want to make sure we're not skipping past. Annihilated? Are you asking? You said annihilated. Annihilation's annihilated. What are you asking, Jay? You said annihilated, and now you're questioning. You need to look up the definition. The other place may be annihilated. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. I think I'm dumb. Because you said temporary punishment or annihilation is biblical and consistent. Yeah, utterly destroy. So, temporary punishment or annihilation, those are two different things. So, like, which one, like, for the bad place? Or, like, is the temporary punishment, like, I guess I'm not really sure what you're saying. The other place may be annihilated, maybe completely destroyed, yeah. You have something on your person. Kitten. He's a kitty. You want to say hi to the people? You don't like being picked up, but I'm going to pick you up anyway. Kitten. Sweet girl. The idea is not that immediately after death all have turned to God. Like I pointed out, talking about someone like Mustache Man. I don't feel like I should say his name. Mustache German Man who did the bad thing. I stand behind the idea of judgment. Well, we see that it's biblical that only a few will be saved, which is true. But if only a few are saved, where's everyone else going? If not eternal hell, I'm saying maybe get annihilated. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. My brain's not braining tonight, so I think most of that was me. No man can see me and live. Blessed is, a lot of people see him. Blessed is pure in heart, and they will see God. Visions can't grasp him, and his grasp is all over. His vision, inner turmoil, no genuine will hinder his ability to have spiritual link to God. A lot of people like see God in the Bible, and like see his wonders, or like see angels, and they're like, "How am I gonna live since I've seen God?" Jacob wrestled with the guy. Why does Christianity bother you so much? Just be happy and live your life without thinking about it. I can't do that when I have Christians in the country that I live in trying to make everybody follow Christianity. I can't do that when I know that Christianity is bothering and harming individuals all throughout the world as it has throughout its history. especially when I've seen that harm firsthand and I've been victims to some of that harm. It's not really something I can shut up about. Alex, I don't know. I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I don't think universal salvation is biblically supported. You really have to cherry pick and ignore the Bible to get universalism. That's kind of what I'm saying, Jay. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. You know, it just ain't it. It just ain't it biblically. I will probably end the live stream soon. I gotta get up early. But it just ain't it. I believe in reading the whole text. And reading some of the history of the text. Studying the Hebrew if you can. I can't. I wish I could. But, you know, if you really want to go extra. Study the history of the church, the history of the Bible, things that have verifiably been changed or tweaked or whatever else. You know, look at what scholars have determined about the Bible. Like how Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were probably not written by any eyewitnesses of Jesus's life. You know, learn about it as much as you can and try to take the whole context. Because as soon as, especially within the book itself, if you're not going to do all the extracurricular stuff and look at, you know, the history or whatnot, that's one thing. But when you're looking at the book itself, you should at least take the whole context of the book when considering what it's saying. Well, even demons can be made to bend the knee by an all-powerful God. Doesn't mean they will get to go to heaven. Yeah. And like I said, the Bible has examples of people who are repentant or regretful. You know, when they're being turned away by God after their lives, and they still get turned away. So there absolutely is a way that you can be regretful, you can bow down to him, beg for forgiveness, whatever, and still be turned away. That's just how it is. That's biblical. Even every knee bows, every tongue confesses. Modern Christianity is more like Augustinianity. That guy is the most successful fanfic author of all time. That and St. Paul. There have been people, I don't remember any specific examples, but there have been people who are like, well, Christians do this because Paul, because Christians can do this because Paul said this. And I'll say, okay, but Jesus said this. And they're like, okay, but Paul said this. And it's like, but the Messiah said this. The Messiah, God, said this. Why are we listening to Paul? If they're contradicting each other, who's this Paul guy? You know, like, listen to what the Messiah says. So, Paul definitely. Yeah. And especially here in the U.S., I hear so much commentary about Christianity in the U.S. versus Christianity in, like, you know, other European countries and whatnot. So even we take it in a weird direction that a lot of the other world doesn't. What can you do? What can you do? It's all harmful nonsense in the end. We should push back on these Augustinian ideas. I think we should push back on a lot of the ideas of Christianity, including ones found directly in the source material, or the amalgamation of what is probably kind of picked verses to put into the source material, or, you know, whatever the Bible is, whatever amalgamated monster the Bible is. And we're going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that. But not tonight, because I think I am at the end of this live stream. It is late. I am sleepy. I have been up early, and I have to be up early again tomorrow because who needs to sleep in on their days off? Who needs to sleep? Life sucks sometimes. Sometimes people die too young. Sometimes, there might just not be an afterlife. Sometimes you got to get up early on your days off. Sometimes children die of cancer. Why do they have cancer? Sometimes kids are starving after having watched their parents blow up in front of them, as other countries coming in to murder everyone in their country. It's life sucks. So why should we expect that there must be an afterlife just because we want there to be? Maybe there isn't one, because life just sucks sometimes. Fortunately, my life doesn't suck nearly as bad as some people, and the best thing I have to complain about is getting up a little bit early, which I'm very happy about. Definitely have a blessed and privileged position in life. Yeah, when's the next live? I don't know. I usually do lives every Tuesday at around 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes I have to reschedule, like I did this week. And sometimes I do extra lives throughout the week. And sometimes I just have to cancel. Sometimes I just go a week without a live. But yeah. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for the conversations. It's nice to see all of you. I always appreciate when anyone gives me any amount of their time. And I've noticed in the past few live streams, I've had like a higher number of people that like stick around throughout. Like my viewer count doesn't don't move the step stool. My viewer count doesn't drop to like 1 or 2 like it has in the past. It stays at like 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever. So, and sometimes more. And I know that's not a lot, but for a small content creator who often sees 1s and 2s and 0s, seeing that number,
1s and 2s are usually you and me.
seeing that average kind of go up over time is really exciting. I got 10 likes in this live stream. That's huge. It's huge. Double digits is always huge for me in live streams. So, thank you, everyone. Even if you're not engaging, you don't have to engage. You don't even have to watch the video. So, don't even worry about it. Just any amount of support is greatly appreciated. So, thank you all so much for being here. I hope to see you all next time. Have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this. Bye.